Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to the Daily Devotionals for Nurses podcast. My name is Tola, and today we continue with asking God for help. We are currently reading Psalm 40 from verse 1 to 2. It says, I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined unto me and heard my cry. Verse 2, He brought me up also out of a horrible pit, out of murky clay, and set my feet upon a rock and established my goings. Today, as we talk about the anatomy of asking for help, I want us to focus on that Psalm 40, verse 1b. Yesterday, I talked to you about waiting patiently in God's waiting room, but being expectant also. Being expectant that it's going to be your turn, your turn for change, your turn to be called up, your turn to be assisted, your turn to be helped. And today, as we focus on, and he inclined unto me, he inclined unto me. I talked about being expectant, that God is going to answer you. And the Bible actually shows us that when we wait for him, he inclines towards us. He favors us. He looks towards us. To have an inclination or to incline, it means to have a leaning towards something or someone, right? So this is telling us that he leans towards us. He looks favorably towards us. He has a tendency to come towards us. And heard my cry. He heard, right? The Bible tells us that God's ears are not shut off, right? He heard us. He has heard your cry. But one thing I want you to realize, and I'm kind of emphasizing the words, what if you did not cry out? Because I'm telling you, you need to ask God for help. This shows that you're ready. This shows you're willing to accept even what he has. Because if you're coming to God and you are not going to accept his help, you have to cry out, right? And when you look at the word cry, for me, it means there's an increase in the octave of your voice. There's a change that tells us that there's something different, right? There's something different. There's something happening here. One of the definitions for cry means to ask for earnestly or loudly. You've increased the pitch, the tone of your voice. When a baby cries, everybody knows that there's something wrong. If you have a baby somewhere that's crying, every single person, even a child, knows baby's crying. It indicates that there is something going on. And what do we do naturally as human beings? We incline. We want to find out what's going on. Is baby hungry? Does the baby need to be fed? Just very tired or sleepy, or just wants some love, some attention? Where's mommy? Where's daddy? The cry, the increase in the tone or the pitch indicates that I need something. So when you keep quiet, when you feel, or when you're so stoic, or when you feel like maybe I don't have to ask God for help. Even with a quiet baby, after a while, you're like, this baby's too quiet, right? But in this time and in this season, as you grow, there's nothing wrong with asking God for help. Don't feel so strong. Don't feel like, oh, I have to be the strong one. I have to carry the family on my back. I have to be the breadwinner. I have to be the provider. I have to be so tough for my patients that you don't want to wait for God to hear your cry. You want to be so strong, or you are so strong that you're afraid to cry and ask God for help. He is waiting to incline unto you. He's waiting to turn favorably towards you. You already have an advantage. You already have the advantage. But you need to call out to him. You need to talk to him. You don't want to be silent in this time. You do not want to be silent. Just like a fresh baby cannot be silent. We need to hear that baby's cry to say, yes, this baby is here, baby is alive. Even as time goes on, the baby needs to cry consistently so we know, yes, baby's good. Crying in life is necessary for the baby to survive. Crying brings the attention of people. And in this time and in this season that we're praying for revival, it will bring God's attention to you. His attention is already inclined towards you. Don't be afraid to cry out today. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel ashamed. Do not let shame rob you of what God is doing in this season. Do not let pain rob you of what God is doing in this season. Sometimes I go to God and like I'm a little baby, and I just say, Lord, help me. And I just pour my heart out. Pour your heart out to God today. And He indeed will hear you, and He has heard you.